Hey everybody, Shav Nobody Else's Auto. We're going to share a super cool project with you that we're working on. This is actually a car that my dad bought about 3 years ago at an auction. And this thing is super cool. 1939 Cadillac sedan. Now 39 was a very small production year for Cadillac. Only about 15,000 total cars were made of all different shapes and sizes. So not a ton of 39 Cadillacs out there anyway. This car, however, appears to be pretty much all original. Shows 35,900 miles, and we've got documentation on this car back into the late 70s. The estate auction that we bought it at, that was when that owner had bought it, and we found a bunch of paperwork in the car dating this back to the late 70s with 35,000 miles on it when he bought it, documented as being original back then. Now it shows 35,900. Now, the car did have some issues with it when he bought it, so he planned on going through the car and getting it completely up to snuff, all the way down to having the complete engine overhauled. So he took the car apart, actually took the front end off of it, took the engine out, had the engine overhauled a long time ago, and never got it put back together. When we bought the car at the auction, it was literally kind of one of those deals. They had put the front clip back on the car, but the engine was still on the stand from the machine shop. The transmission was over here, and they said, there's the engine, there's the transmission, there's the boxes of parts, there's the car, it all goes. That's how we bought it. So Dad got the car bought at the auction. We loaded it all up, hauled it back home, put it in storage. Well, we've always been wanting to get back on it. Now's the time. We've got it moved out of storage, got all the dust rinsed off of it so we weren't working around dust, scratching it up, and we're going to get tore into this thing and see if we can get this motor and tranny set back in this thing, see if we can get it going. Now, real quick, we did a full video on this car when we brought it in, but it was real windy that day. It didn't come out real well. We're going to give you a real quick look at it again, but you can go back and check that other video out as well and get a little better look at it. We'll put a link in here for that. But this car appears to be pretty much all original. I think it's had a little bit of touch-up paint work done. When we look at these spots like right here, where that's just got wear through. Right down here, it's just worn through. Just like original old paint would be. So I think a lot of this car is original. I've looked up underneath it, and it is just like an old used car. It's a little crusty and a little dirty, but it's 80 plus years old, and it's going to be a little dirty, but it's not rusty. It hasn't been hit. Like I said, we know that the car has been in storage since the late 70s, because I think the documentation we had was around 76 or 78 when he had bought the car, and so we've known where it's been that long. But this thing is just like a time capsule. In here, we see a little bit of wear on the driver's side of the seat, because that's where it would have taken all the heat from people getting in and out. But the reason this has wear and a little bit of tearing is because I'm pretty much convinced this is all completely original. The door panels are original. The armrest has some wear, but this is original material. The headliner is amazing and appears to be all original. And the doors on this thing, it's just, they click shut, they're solid. The back seat, there again, I'm sure it's all original inside of there. Another kind of interesting side note, this car, we actually bought it at an auction in Russell, Kansas. And it still has a Bob Dole sign laying in the back seat. So, kind of crazy. Windows on this car, you can roll them down with one finger. You can roll them up with one finger. That's how clean and original this thing is. So let's take a look around the back real quick, and then we actually need to get to work, but I want to share some of this with you. Everything is here, the lights, the V8 on the trunk. These, I believe, are aftermarket turn signals that somebody added back in the day. But over here on the passenger side of the car, about the same thing condition-wise. Boxes and envelopes full of paperwork on this car. All kinds of cool stuff in here. Back from when the previous owner bought this car. All this paperwork. Check out these old pictures of this car that are in the file. June 17th, 1978. So Awesome paper trail on this thing. A lot of information here. All the paperwork from when the engine was overhauled. We got all that with the car, fortunately. So, what are we going to do? We've got the flathead here. We've got the transmission here. We're going to get tore into this thing. And I think we're going to take the front clip back off of it just so we've got room to work. Let's take a look under here, see what we got. Check this out. That's how we open the hood. And under here, it looks like they've already run a new wiring harness because all that looks clean and new. A lot of the linkages and everything still appears to be here. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a fairly straightforward project. Now, we all know it never is. We all know that sounds like a great plan, and that's not how it works. But we're keeping our fingers crossed, and that's what we're hoping for. We've got the engine right back here. There's the big old flathead V8 Cadillac, like they used in the tanks, but this one's going back in the 39 Cadillac. So, we're going to move the front clip back here. Got the cutlass up on the lift. We'll just set the front clip under the cutlass, hopefully out of our way. Get the flathead moved up here and see if we can get this thing hung in there. So, we're going to get to work. We're going to pull the hood off this thing, pull the front clip off of it. Got a bunch of big old packing, moving blankets to wrap all this stuff up in and get it out of the way and see what we can do. So, we're going to keep you posted. Stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a cool project. We'll just see how it all comes together.